Leandro Trossard, the talk of the January transfer window this week so far, and it's been announced over the last day or so that he will be joining Arsenal in a £27 million deal from Brighton. As a Brighton fan, obviously, I would love to have the chance in this video to take a stance on it, and in this video I'm going to explain how this deal's come about, how this transfer saga exploded in the first place, and what he can offer to Arteta's side. Obviously, this transfer kind of came out of nowhere for a lot of neutral football fans, being one of Brighton's superior players this season. And what seemed for us, he was starting to enter his peak, which, as I mentioned before, was quite understandable because he only had, at this moment in time, he only had 18 months left on his contract. It was 6 months until they recently extended the extra year option that they had to obviously get some money out of the deal. But yeah, with such little time on his contract and him being 28 years old now, it was kind of understandable that him and his agent were going to be thinking about what was next for him. It just felt like it came about in the wrong way. He was signed from Genk for 15 million and now is being offloaded for around a £12 million profit. Considering what we've managed to get out of him for 3.5 seasons, is not a bad deal at all. This season, Trossard has scored 7 goals and 2 assists, which is actually the same as one Gabriel Martinelli. We'll be comparing the two a little later on and seeing how they're both going to fit into Arsenal's squad. But he's accumulated that this season from 24 shots and a total XG of 4.62. Pretty impressive, especially considering that Brighton were known as the XG failures over the last couple of seasons. We've kind of turned that around this season now, and obviously results are paying off for that, and Trossard was a huge part of that. He's a big game player as well. 52% of his Premier League goals since he joined Brighton have come against the big 6 teams, so it's understandable that a lot of big clubs were interested in him so that you could stop scoring against them. He's a versatile player. He can play pretty much anywhere across the front four. He did that for Genk and he did that for Brighton as well. Potter actually had him playing left wing back at one point last season. He played left wing back away to Spurs and still managed to score the winning goal at White Hart Lane then. And yeah, he's a versatile player. He's a 2-footed player as well. Believe it or not, everyone knows about the hat-trick he scored at Anfield this season. They were all scored with his weaker foot. So yeah, if that's anything to go off, he's a clinical player on both sides. Now, there was a clear unsettlement in the Brighton camp after the World Cup, which was a disappointing one for him. He made 1 start appearance and 2 sub appearances and accumulated 0 shots during the World Cup. I know it was a poor performance from Belgium all round, but the issue, the rare issue that I do have with Trossard is his inconsistencies, and he's not that kind of player that, even though he's now signing for a big club, you do not expect him to be that guy that's going to drag you out the mud when you need it. He's a great player when you're playing well, and he's going to be a big part of that, but he's not that elite level player that's going to get you out of the mud and grind out results, because we obviously saw that for Belgium, and he was very inconsistent for Brighton up until this season as well. Even though this whole kind of drama's exploded recently, there has been talk of him subtly wanting to leave all the way back until October. He was spoken to on the likes of Chelsea, being linked with them, pretty much saying that he wanted to finish strong at Brighton, but he wouldn't give a definite answer about wanting to stay or not. It was more of a we'll see what happens kind of thing. And when most people say that, it's just a way of saying, yeah, fuck you, I'm out of it. Obviously, his agent's been in the thick of things, and he's been offering him to Spurs and Arsenal this month. There was a tweet this morning saying that Trossard only wanted to join Arsenal, and I'm sure there's going to be interviews where he's going to say it's my dream to join Arsenal. Bro, you were being offered to Chelsea and United a couple months ago. You need to be quiet. If we actually pull up his agent's statement, recently after it was emerged that De Zerbi had dropped him for not fully committing and giving 100% in recent performances. His agent came out and was saying, before Leandro left Qatar, Brighton's intention was to have Leandro sign on. This did not happen as the parties did not come to an agreement. In other words, you wanted him to get out of there. Leandro still had a starting place against Southampton and Arsenal, but against Everton he was on the bench. Again, because of his recent performances, and De Zerbi highlighted that not every place is guaranteed and everyone needs to work 100% or you won't be played. He wasn't played against Everton because we were already 4-0 up at that point. Like, this is Brighton and Hove Albion we're talking about, a progressing club. This is a Make-A-Wish FC. We didn't need you to come on against Everton and necessarily make an impact. In the run-up to the game against Middlesbrough in the FA Cup, Leandro had already indicated twice that he had a problem with his calf. This was the reason why he stopped training. This was incidentally in consultation with the medical staff. Apparently not many words were exchanged with De Zerbi though, hence why there was all a bit of confusion around the drama. The manager told Leandro that he had to train separately. Last Monday, the manager humiliated Leandro in group and indicated that he no longer wanted to see him. A manager who has not communicated directly with this player for 4 weeks is really incomprehensible. Incidentally, is also the manager who has indicated several times that a transfer is the most convenient solution. Just a load of waffle, really. Like, it's crazy how he's managed to put this much waffle on a statement. De Zerbi again came out in a recent interview and was happy to welcome Leandro back. Like, you have these moments as players and managers, but he was basically saying if he wants to come in and give 100% again, he's welcome to come train with the team. I don't feel like it was anything personal. It wasn't anything necessary to be blown out of proportion, but it is a simple case of if your head's not fully in it, why should you expect to be picked for every single game? So that's why there was pretty much one of the reasons why there was a clear unsettlement between Trossard and why his agent has been. It's been clear that his agent's been forcing a move away for months now, and if De Zerbi wants every player to give 100% and Trossard's not going to be that guy, is he going to work in an Arteta system where we've seen across the whole season that everyone works for each other and there's a lot of intensity and pressing, and if Trossard wants to be a part of that, then I'm sure no doubt he'll succeed. But This is where we're going to compare things, because I've got comparisons for Trossard and Martinelli, where I think although Trossard can kind of play that Jesus role, not as elite as Jesus can. Obviously, he can play as a centre forward or a second striker. He's shown for Brighton this season that he has capabilities for it, but I do feel like Arteta is mostly going to use him out on the left. And he's obviously going to be a great squad player with all the games that Arsenal are going to be playing this season. So Trossard versus Martinelli. Trossard's only played 2 games less. However, they do both have 7 goals and 2 assists this season. Coming from 38 shots from Trossard and 44 shots from Martinelli. Trossard, the more slightly clinical, hence why he is capable of playing that centre forward role as well, because not only is he a great striker of the ball, but he is great at linking up play as well in tight technical areas. It's clear to see that he's got the technical ability to play for a top team. It's just whether he can keep that consistency up. Despite having the same amount of goals this season, Trossard with 0 headed goals and 0 from outside the box. As a playmaker as well, big chances created, only the 1 for Trossard versus Martinelli 6. They're both direct wingers, but obviously it's not really a clear comparison, because Martinelli hasn't really played down the middle this season at all, whereas Trossard's kind of played half on the wing, half a striker. So it is going to be harder for him as a striker to create big chances, arguably. Passing accuracy this season from Trossard, 74 versus Martinelli's 83. However, 141 forward passes from Trossard against Martinelli's 85, and 9 through balls from Trossard's versus Martinelli's 4. Whether that's because of different systems, because Brighton have now implemented such an intense system under De Zerbi, where the defenders invite the press forward, pass it off to Caicedo, that goes to McAllister or Gross, and then the wingers are so pushed far forward, ready to have the ball into a ton of space. There's not much need for Trossard to need to pass back because the gaps have already been opened up, and that's how our chances are created. Whether he can suddenly suit an Arteta system so sudden, because obviously he's going to need to. He needs to be that sign-in along with one or two others for Arsenal, where they're not going to be world-class game changers, but they could potentially push Arsenal from a great season to an elite season. Six successful Trossards. 6 successful tackles from Trossard from 11. Martinelli has 10 successful tackles from 17. So they're about just as good as winning the ball back. But again, it's whether Trossard can give that 100% to track back in the first place. No clearances from Trossard versus Martinelli 6. And Martinelli being better in the air as well. 8 aerial duels 1 versus Trossard 6. So similar wingers in a way. I feel Martinelli can be more slightly direct, but Trossard has great technical ability and a lot more experience at his age as well. I don't expect Trossard to start for Arsenal. I think it will take something special for him to work his way into the team, unless a serious injury happens between the front four. But he would be a great squad player for them. Obviously, that is the intention. That is why it's a good deal for both parties, because we've got a decent amount of money out of it for someone who only had 18 months in their contract left. But Arsenal have got themselves someone who, as much as I don't really like the saying, is Prem proven. He's clearly one of those on his day players where we've started to see that consistency this season. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on with Arsenal, because there is potential that he's going to suit them greatly, but I feel like it could also go terribly wrong. So yeah, that's pretty much my stance on the whole Trossard situation. Glad that it's been done sooner rather than later and hasn't kind of gone all the way through the entire transfer window, because that's not what we really need at the moment when we're playing such good football. Yeah, that's pretty much it. 3.5 mixed seasons at Brighton, and I wish him all the best at Arsenal. No, I'm kidding. Or am I?